Well, the deer are certainly on the move this morning. Oh, there it goes. Two of them. Yeah. And they probably won't be the last I see either walking around out here this morning. Everything seems to be active today, which is generally a good sign, and I usually appreciate that. Even though it's chilly out, I'm still watching every step that I make, just in case. You never know what might be out here. So good. The sun hasn't hit this part of the lake yet. It's still on that shoreline, which is kind of what I was hoping I would get here on time for. So I am not going to waste any time. I am just going to set up the camera real quick and get to filming and fishing. So today, I am back at it, but I'm going to switch gears a little bit, going after crappies primarily today. Not saying that I won't fish for any bass, because I certainly brought my bait caster with me to do just that, but my primary focus this morning, while it's still early, is getting after some crappies, so let's give it a shot. Now, what I might have mentioned before was that in this lake, there's a lot of standing timber. There's a lot of brush all around it that washed up, driftwood. But what you can't see out here is the submerged timber that's down there. And that's exactly what I'm fishing to try to pick up some of these crappies. Alright, quick color change and we'll get back in it. Now, one little trick that I picked up while I've been fishing out here, due to all the snags, it's better to use super cheap jigs that are inherently a little flimsy, so I can real easy kind of bend them out instead of just snapping them off, and I can save my jig, and all I have to do is bend the hook back, and I'm right back in it again, instead of having to retie and lose my jig and lose my lure and so on and so forth. Tiny bass just came up and ate a bug off the top of it. When I say tiny, I mean he's like 3/4 of an inch. Oh, there we go. I got him. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. I knew I wasn't crazy. There'd be crappies here. And this is a decent one too. So, crappie tanza. My preferred crappie lure strikes again. We get a quick measurement on this one. I'm going to take some crappies home today, if he's lawful. Now in Texas, they have to be 10 inches. So let's see how he measures up. So this one is approximately 12.5 inches, 12 3/4. So he's definitely a lawful fish, and he's going on the stringer. There we go. Now I'm going to rerun that same exact cast and try to replicate everything, because generally crappies, where there's one, there's more. And the color I'm using today, I'm using Midnight Gill. It's a really cool color that I created. It's kind of basic, but it actually really looks cool in the water because it does a little bit of a color shift. And I'll try to get some footage of that for you later, but no guarantees. I see that little bass again. He is all of about 3/4 of an inch long. Now today, as far as bass, since I've been here, the only one that I've seen has been that little tiny 3/4 of an inch bass that's swimming around over here right now. Other than that, I haven't seen any other bass out here, which may or may not be a sign that they've moved back out into deeper water. I'm not sure yet. Too early to tell. But when you're fishing, almost everything is relevant. Everything you can pay attention to about the water clarity, the mucky stuff growing on the bottom, snags. Let's see, hopefully I can pull this one out. Yep, got it out. And when you do pull it out, reel it up real quick. Keep your line tight. Otherwise, it will sink right back down into that same snag again, and you'll be right back in the same boat, pulling it out. So I just bent it back real quick and put my lure back on, and I'm back in it. Now that was a lot quicker than having to retie another jig on, but sometimes you don't have a choice. It is what it is. It's always a nerve-wracking thing to keep casting straight onto the same snag that you keep getting snagged up on. But it's where the fish are. That's where you gotta cast to. And in this sense, I do think that somewhat lighter monofilament line actually kind of helps you, because it gives you that extra little bit of stretch you need to not snap, as opposed to if I were using like 12-pound test line right now. I think it snaps a little easier under those conditions out of a snag than 8-pound test line does. Even though you would think, well, 8-pound test line is definitely not as strong as 12-pound test line, but 8-pound definitely has a lot more stretch than 12-pound does, and I think that stretch actually really helps a lot when pulling yourself out of snags. And while I'm standing out here, I'm always constantly scanning around in an area around my feet, just in case. Although, like I mentioned before, it is a little chilly out here this morning, doesn't mean that there can't be snakes. So I'm always aware of what's around me. Midnight Gill. Your color changes under the water though. It looks really cool. Almost looks like a minnow too, along with flounder hunt. Let's take a short little stroll and try some other logs in the area. So good news and bad news. The good news is that the sun's starting to come up and I can start to see the tops of the submerged timber that's out there. But at the same time, bad news, that's usually when the light switch on the crappie bite turns off too. So I'm going to give it a little while longer here before I move on and try a little bit harder. Might have to put in a lot more work than I was expecting to do today. So today, I'm going to throw Officer Kyle in the mix. One of the creations of the deadfall shad I made. Just to see. Okay, so usually I go up that side of this channel, leading out toward the main lake. Now I'm going to switch and I'm going to go ahead and go up the other side. Since I only got one fish today and I need to put in some more work to try to get something. Still somewhat early. The crappie bite's over, so again, switched over to bass and let's see how we do. Now so far, I haven't seen any bass in the shallows really yet, save for a couple small ones. And the weeds are super grown up from the last time I was out here. So the conditions are changing. My game might have to change a little bit. Let's check this little pool here. Sometimes there's a little fish caught in here, but this is pretty low right now for what it normally is. But occasionally, larger fish get stuck. I might check underneath this ledge though before I step down, just to be sure. But occasionally, some larger fish do get stuck in this little pool. Right now, all I see is some minnows. But anyways. Somebody already stuck some stones here for me to walk across on. Thanks, whoever that was, appreciate it. So I have not been to this side yet this year. Been doing so well on the other side, there was no reason to come all the way over here. This is generally a further walk to the places that I want to go fishing at. And this shore is definitely harder to fish than the other one. If you want to fish the shoreline on this side, you gotta kind of walk through the grass a bit, a little more than on the trails, and that isn't necessarily the greatest thing that I love to do. I like the trails a little bit better than this. But I always say a little prayer while I'm out here. I don't pray for fish though, only for safety and safe return back to my family. I am not seeing nothing, and it's super shallow right now. So, I gotta move up this shoreline some before I'm gonna find any type of drop off. Okay, now this looks promising. Although, again, no guarantees. The conditions in the lake are changing. The fish are moving again. Time to figure them out once again. Yay, Officer Kyle! Almost lost it. Oh man. And this bass was caught on my character bait, Officer Kyle. So as you can see, the deadfall shad seems to work in just about anything I throw out there at him. And I wasn't here but a couple minutes. So let me get a quick measurement on this guy. One isn't the loneliest number anymore. I got 2 fish now. So let me run this back and show you what you missed the first time. So right here, the little shadowy figure starts to find its way across the screen. I missed this while I was there. I did not see this. But this was a toothy little garpike that came up to have a look-see at me. And he even turned and faced me at the shore to watch what I was doing. And you see him right here where the arrow is. He just kind of came in and he's sitting there watching me, and then he just kind of glides off. Now, be honest. Let me know in the comments. Did you see this the first time through? Or did you miss it like I did? I missed it. I certainly didn't catch it, but let me know. And we're moving again. The main trail cuts across here somewhere. I don't remember exactly where. That's too steep to try to get up. That's sloppy. Let's give it a shot. I'm young. Oh, young enough anyways. Well, famous last words. Let's give it a shot. We're young. We can do it. Oh my goodness. I'm fitting to fall on my butt. Across all these logs. And coming back, taking the trail the whole way. Not fishing any of the walk back. This is a lot rougher than the other side is. Ooh. Everything's breaking underneath me. Looky, looky. The remains of a garpite. Decent sized one too. But you can see why I didn't want to tangle with that thing inside the kayak. You can see all these teeth and that hard bill he has. Well, that I didn't want flopping around in the kayak with me and thrashing me on my leg. So that's why I didn't want to exactly land him. Wow. Not sure if you can hear it, but I can hear that bullfrog that's all the way back over there by the dock. That great big one I was talking about a few minutes ago. That thing has to be huge. That dock is 130, 150 yards away from me right now. Here the water is a bit muddy. I'm not sure exactly why, other than the rain, but if we got rain, why is the water low? I killed 3 batteries while I was out there today, but luckily for y'all, I had 1 more in my bag, so that way I could film my outro at least. So, nothing too terribly exciting happened once my battery died. Hooked into a garpite. He came up and hit the Officer Kyle lure, which was really, really cool. Had a fun day out here, and as you can see, the deadfall shad definitely works, especially even with the cartoon baits or the Kraken bait. So, with that being said, I want to hear from you guys. What do you want to see me make in the deadfall shad next? Let me know in the comments. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm out of here for the day.